Move over Elon Musk because nobody right now is rattling the cages of traditional Wall Street more than Michael Saylor. Now, of course, it's the same crowd of naysayers who lost billions of dollars shorting Tesla. And well, they're at it again with their friends in the financial media, taunting Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, and of course, all the suckers who are drinking the Kool-Aid. Nobody would call my next guest a sucker, but I think he's drinking the Kool-Aid too. I want to bring in Bitcoin Opportunity Fund co-managing partner James Lavish. You know, James, explain the value proposition for those at the back of the room who haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, well, it's good to be here, Charles. Thank you for having me. Drinking the Kool-Aid is a good way to put it. But look, Michael has come up with a brilliant strategy at MicroStrategy, and people are calling it a money glitch for a reason. Why? Because Michael has found a way to issue stock and make it immediately accretive for his shareholders. This is something that Wall Street is not used to. Normally, you issue shares, you do a secondary, and it's usually dilutive unless you can do something very quickly to make to create some value for your shareholders. Well, what he does is he's borrowing money and buying Bitcoin with it. So, just for instance, if he issues $100 million of stock and he buys $100 million of Bitcoin, the stock goes up $200 to $300 million in market value, and it's immediately accretive, not dilutive. And that's because people understand what he's doing. The people who are buying his stock understand what he's doing, and that he's creating this value for them, this underlying value for them. The other thing he's doing is he's issuing convertible debt. And he can do that, Charles, at near zero yield. Or in the last one he did was $3 billion for 0% yield. Well, why can he do that? He can do it because the MSTR stock, his stock is volatile. And it's volatile because of the underlying holding, Bitcoin. But it's also volatile to the upside, which creates optionality for his buyers. And so he's able to issue these converts at almost zero yield because there's optionality for those hedge funds to buy that convert debt and trade around it, and then ultimately they'll look to convert it into the underlying stock, and they'll get value from that as well.
Right. So James, we're going to put up a chart showing MicroStrategy and Bitcoin itself. MSTR has significantly outperformed. The value proposition that you just described, is that the only thing? Is there some other sort of arbitrage situation going on?
You know, I would think that there are hedge funds that are trying to arbitrage this, and that would be buying Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin futures and then shorting MicroStrategy, which I would say is a pretty dangerous strategy. I wouldn't be doing that myself. But the reason is what I just said, is that it's trading at a multiple because he's creating Bitcoin, underlying Bitcoin, by borrowing money against it. And as you go into the future, these shares will be worth more because of that underlying Bitcoin. Now, how long this goes on for, it's hard to say, but it can go on for a very long time. He's right now trading, if you take all the shares, dilute all of them out, and assume that every single share is converted from all those converts, he's trading at about a 2.7 multiple of shares, the share price to the underlying Bitcoin. Where that ultimately goes, I mean, he thinks he has a lot of runway here. Yeah. He can do this. He's talking about buying up to 1 million Bitcoin, and he's got 400,000 right now. So there's a way to go.
I've got less than a minute to go, but there are some critics out there, and I mean some really smart people, right? I saw where you replied to a post. Steve Hanke, I think, really smart, very successful guy. He's been on this show where he's got this sort of cartoon. And, you know, highly speculative, you know, comparing it to the Mississippi Company, one of the most famous bubbles in history. What do you think folks like that are missing?
I think that the ego sometimes betrays you. I dismissed it twice in my career, Charles, and I've been on Wall Street for a long time, for 30 years. And I just outright dismissed it. I didn't do the work. And I think a lot of these people are either not doing the work or refusing to admit that they're wrong. I mean, the reality is that Bitcoin is extremely, a rapidly growing network that's operated continuously since 2013, processed over 1 billion transactions, maintaining over 11 years of uninterrupted service. The network is secured by 175 terawatt hours of power per year. That's the equivalent of 20 nuclear reactors running continuously. So if you just put it simply, the Bitcoin network is a fortress of digital power that's nation-state level resistant and growing stronger every day. And that's why we're invested in it. That's why we started the fund, and we see tremendous opportunity around the ecosystem and the opportunities in Bitcoin in the future.
Well, congratulations for looking around your own ego, and number two, making people a lot of money. It's a great combination. James, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Charles.
All right, folks.